What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the world according to Briggs. Have you ever been hungry? Have you ever been hungry and don't have the food to take care of that hunger? Well, if not, congratulations. You don't live in one of the nearly 15 million households in the United States that are considered food insecure. Almost 45 million Americans rely on some sort of help from a government agency to eat. Now, one of the strangest things about this subject is a lot of Americans have a misconception on what's going on. They think food stamp recipients and other programs are just people that are lazy and they're from the inner cities and they're just cheating or gaming the system. Well, they figure about 11% of the recipients shouldn't be getting the benefits, whether it's they're lying or whatever. And as far as inner city part, well, that's not the case. The states with the higher percentage are rural and middle America. It's really not the places that have the giant metro areas. The USDA Food and Nutrition Services reports that there are about 44.7 million individual food stamp recipients, receiving on average about $127 a month. That was 2018 numbers. Millions of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and an expensive grocery bill sometimes a little hard to pull off, especially if you're like me. When I was broke, I bought ding-dongs all the time. I love those things. Nowadays, they don't wrap them in the foil anymore. It's a plastic, and it just sucks. It's horrible. Anyway, moving on. Unfortunately, state-by-state percentages of people on food stamps is higher than you'd probably ever imagine. Some of the states are way higher than you'd ever imagine. And the thing is, the tax dollars that the state and federal government put into these programs each year will always get some taxpayers' blood boiling, no matter how many people it helps. If you're one of those taxpayers that gets your blood boiling when you find out people are receiving benefits, this list is for you. I want you to know what states to avoid so your blood pressure doesn't spike when you see someone getting help with food. So I'm going to list the states with the highest percentage of residents on food stamps or other food-related programs. I guess number 10's got to be Number 10, Florida. Florida is number 10 on this list, but in another respect, they're number 1. And I'm not talking about sunblock skincare purchases and senior citizens that look like they're made out of pleather, which they lead the country in. What they also lead the country in is the sheer volume of people on food stamps. Over 3 million residents receive assistance, which costs the government close to $383 million a year. That is more than any other state. They have a lot of people, and I get it, over 21 million people, so they're gonna have a high number. But when you break it down to the percentage, about 15.20% of their residents are on food stamps. It's a high number. I guess it costs so much to live in the Sunshine State, you can't afford food. Number 9, Oklahoma. The government spends around $73 million annually to provide over 600,000 people in Oklahoma with supplemental food assistance. That doesn't sound as tragic as Florida, but Oklahoma has just under 4 million residents, so big difference there. 15.3% or 600,000 residents are getting food stamps in Oklahoma. The Sooner State is a state that has one of the highest prison populations per capita in the country. This has led to a large portion of those food stamp recipients being grandparents on fixed income raising their grandkids. They need the program. It kind of sucks you go to jail, get 3 meals a day and cable while your kids are going hungry at your parents' house and having to do their homework by candlelight. Like I said, the state spends around $73 million a year. Number 8, Tennessee. Tennessee is the second southern state on this list. Maybe it's the third if you're one of those people that consider Oklahoma and Texas part of the South. Most people consider Arkansas and Louisiana the end of the South. Tennessee has over 15% of the total population receiving government assistance to eat, 15.58 to be exact. The government spends a staggering $129 million to ensure the residents can buy some food. The number of residents on food stamps is just over 1 million. If you know anyone from Tennessee, they probably are just happy people are getting help. This state is very community orientated. They have a lot of good people living in this state. They have one of the highest percentage of residents that attend church on a weekly basis. They also lead the country in people who don't trust lawyers and bus drivers for some reason. I thought that one was weird. Number 7, Georgia. Georgia is home to over 10 million people. About 1.6 million of them receive government assistance for food. Coincidentally, 1.6 million is also how many times I thought to myself, damn, it's hot in Georgia, while I did basic training in August at Fort Benning, Georgia. The total number of people on food stamps did decrease from 2016 to now, but only slightly. As a result, the government still spends about $205 million on these benefits. And no, you don't get free peaches. I don't care what you read on the internet, they're not giving away free peaches. Number 6, Alabama. The Yellowhammer State sucks in so many categories, I feel like I should thank them for all the good times I've had roasting them. Sometimes I read a stat and I think, are these people trying to be an embarrassment? Now, to be fair, they do have some really nice schools, great communities, and wonderful people. But some places actually feel like they're going out of their way to be considered backwards. Alabama spends $95 million to support 16.31% of Alabama's residents on food stamps. That's about 793,000 residents on food stamps in a state with only 4.9 million residents. Number 5, Mississippi. Our old friend Mississippi. I'm gonna mispronounce it so the locals have something to complain about. Here it comes. Mississippi. Now, my biological father is from Meridian, Mississippi. My entire family back there calls it Mississippi. I've never heard them ever say Mississippi. I understand most of you might not notice a difference, and some of you are thinking, why does this matter? Well, it doesn't matter. Unless you're from the Magnolia State and you really can't defend it, you have to make my video roasting about something else. I still loved my summers there. Nothing like floating down the Chunky River. It was a good time. Now, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, food stamps. 17.88% of the state is on food stamps. The state always has a higher than average unemployment rate, so until politicians do something about that, they will always be high on a list like this. The percentage of people on food stamps is 17.88%. That is a lot of people. That's just under 500,000 residents. They spend $61 million a year on food stamps. And it's really, in most cases, it's not these people's fault. They just have no jobs compared to other states, I should say. They climb a little bit as the economy gets better, just like all states, but they're always lagging behind. It's too bad. Beautiful state. Number 4, Oregon. Oregon, my home state. The Beaver State comes in at number 5 with the most people on food stamps. That in part has a lot to do with the amount of homeless we have in this state. It's not just Portland. Salem, Eugene, and Ashland have serious homeless populations. We have both unsheltered, who are people living under bridges in the woods, maybe they got a tent, a sleeping bag, stuff like that. And then we have the vehicle homeless. There are whole areas I could drive to right now and find a mile of motorhomes and cars and vans with people sleeping in them right now. And there's I know of at least 3 areas where that's going on. As always, I refer to those people as having Geico as their landlord. These are people that need and tend to be together enough to go get on a program to get themselves fed. Oregon has a lot of normal, everyday people receiving food assistance as well. In fact, there are more food stamp recipients in Oregon than public school students. That's nuts. 17.82% of the population receives government assistance, which costs the state roughly $80 million a year. That's a lot of money. Oregon has 725,000 residents on food stamps. Number 3, West Virginia. If you watch my videos enough, you know I have a soft spot for West Virginia. There's a morning DJ in Charleston that stole my heart when she admitted that she has bats living in her apartment building's roof, and the residents are okay with it because it keeps the mosquitoes in check. Who knew? West Virginia has had a bunch of punches to the gut in the last decade or so. The loss of coal jobs and the opioid crisis are the big ones. The good news is they turned the corner sort of on the opioid thing. Still, they're looking to get some jobs back, but if not the coal industry, something else that'll hire a bunch of people and put some money in bank accounts. That would be great. The end result of all their problems is the need for public assistance. West Virginia has some of the best programs and organizations to help people in the country. Hands down. Amazing people there. 18.27% of the residents in West Virginia are on food stamps. West Virginia spends just under $40 million a year to feed residents that need help. Number 2, Louisiana. You know, it's a little strange when you're talking about a negative subject and you get to the worst southern state and it's not Mississippi. And yes, I consider this a negative subject, not because the people are receiving public assistance. That would be stupid. It's because they have to. That's why I think it's a negative subject. It's a very unfortunate situation for anyone to be in, and that includes the people that are gaming the system. It's bad that they got to the point where they thought that this was a good idea. Get a job. It's that simple. If you're gaming the system, get a job. If you legitimately have to get public assistance, then, by all means. Anyway, enough of that. The government spends over $112 million to support 891,000 impoverished Louisiana residents who can't afford to eat. 19.05% of the Louisiana population is collecting food stamps. And number 1, New Mexico. The top prize goes to the land of enchantment, New Mexico. New Mexico needs to change their state's nickname to the land of great sunsets and despair. New Mexico has a greater share of people on food stamps than any other state. Just over 1 in 5 residents are on food stamps in New Mexico. And it really seems like this trend will be going on for a while. So the good news is, because the state sucks in this category and so many others, land is really cheap. If you have a job that you could do remotely, you could call a real estate agent and have a mortgage in no time. Don't go there looking for a job. They don't have them. New Mexico struggles with a 6.1% unemployment rate, which surely helps with their 20.25% food stamp rate. That's the percentage of their population that is on food stamps. They're closing in on a quarter of the population. That's just horrible. It's extremely unfortunate too. Alright, so that is my top 10 states with the most residents on food stamps. Hope you guys got some information out of it. You know, I'm not ragging on people on food stamps at all. When it comes to a situation like this, I honestly, it's the local and state government, in my opinion. I know there's a lot more that goes into it, but in my opinion, that's where a majority of issues like this come from. And that's because there's no jobs coming in. And just all kinds of things. I don't want to get into it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget the links below. Give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Buy a t-shirt. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.